Welcome back, everybody. Hot Mic rolls on this Thursday morning. Our thanks to Michael Rosberg for giving us a few minutes. This is why you should never complain about the dentist, because then the gods come back to you. Because when you need a computer to restart when you're on the air, it always comes around. What happened, bound to happen will. So we're efforting. We'll hopefully have Eric Schmidt on here in a minute. But anytime you have to have a computer restart, it has to happen on the air. Such is life. UND has been busy, though, as we talked about when Schmidt got the job, that they had to finish out his staff, which they've done, then add to their roster, which they announced yesterday officially, the addition of 9 transfers for 2025. We've talked about a couple of them. You saw the video going to break of one of the guys. That's Kristen Hoss from Alexandria, wide receiver who spent the last couple years with the University of Minnesota. He'll have a couple years left of eligibility. They did tap into a little bit of the background that Eric has at San Diego State and a quarterback, which is the big news there. He mentioned yesterday, and we'll talk about it with him when we get him on, but the big news, obviously, was the addition, and we can go to the video, Kyle, of one Simon Rufo, with his decision that Rufo is going to have surgery and will be out for spring ball. And the news there is, obviously, that he's ineligible or won't be able to participate in spring ball for the month of March, which is a story in itself because UND has traditionally held spring football in February and been done sometime around early to mid-March with its spring football. Now, the news is obvious here. That means that the quarterback position is up for grabs. They brought in a transfer from San Diego State, and you're going to hear Eric talk about him in a moment. But they do have the other quarterbacks there. Jerry Kaminsky was fighting for the job last year, and obviously that went to Rufo, who played in every game last year, having to have shoulder surgery, and now he will be out for spring football. So already, which was going to be I would say, intriguing quarterback battle, I thought heading into the fall of 2025 gets another added element to it with the fact that Rufo will be unable to go through spring workouts. For a guy that I think maximized what he could have got out of last season with an offensive line that was either beat up or just maximized its potential of what they could get out of it last season. That was what he was at. So there'll be some intriguing decisions, I think, man, coming up over the next month when spring football begins for UND, and then on to what will happen in the fall, in August of 2025. The two other nuggets that came out of yesterday, and the head football coach would give us the whole lowdown on that, is the moving of the calendar and also working on conditioning. And we could ask him right now, because here he is, the head football coach at the University of North Dakota, a full month into the job. Are you still drinking out of the fire hose, as I like to say?
It's not a fire hose anymore, man. It's starting to we're starting to close the valve there a little bit off of it, but just excited to get the guys back on campus and really start to go to work with them and to dig in with them and to pour into them as coaches. So this first week has been awesome so far. Them just kind of learning the schedule, learning how we operate day in and day out, how we communicate, all those types of things that might be similar, but different too as well for them. So we've hit the ground running here, which was the goal. We wanted to not use the word transition anymore and get Monday rolling. And it's been a good week here so far.
I know you spelled it out yesterday, Eric, in your press conference on the new calendar about conditioning. You wanted to hammer that and then moving spring ball later. Give us the lowdown on the exact reasons why for that.
Yeah. Just past experiences. I thought the one thing, we went to Washington in 2022, and it's a quarter school. So it was a little bit different in the fact that, you start school right after New Year's. Like, I think we were in school already January 3rd. off of it. And we started right away, with our strength and conditioning part of our calendar. And, that's one thing I think, just kind of getting off base for a second, but that year-round calendar and how precise and how important that is, I think, as you get through this, and gain a little bit more wisdom, like that thing is really important that, you follow it, that if you are going to tweak it, it's for the right reasons for your player development. But going back to that winter, we went 13 straight weeks of winter conditioning, and that was too long. Don't get me wrong. We're not going to do that here, but it really created some toughness. I mean, those were hard workouts. We did more mat drills than, you can probably ever do before, at that point. I thought it really, like, you found out like who loved being at Washington at that time and who loved football. Like if you don't love it and you're going through all those things, at 6 a.m, then, it's not worth it. You can find out people's true colors in a hurry and who the real ones are. And we wanted to do that here. We wanted to come in here. And I think that, you talk about culture and all that kind of stuff. You build bonds by doing hard things together. That's how you really, your culture gets formed. So that's something that we wanted to do. And we just felt like if we could get, a really good 8-week session of training in with our guys kind of leading up to spring break and then focus on football, after that. And we'll still do some things with player run practices and things like that they'll get the football side of things too, as well, in late February, early March. But we really wanted to focus on the strict strength and conditioning piece and getting our guys, better genetically here too, as well.
You mentioned obviously Simon's not going to be available. Can you give us the lowdown exactly what's up and prognosis when he can be back on the field?
Yeah, I think he'll be ready to go in the summer. He had something, just talking to him when I first got here, like, hey, I'm going to get this checked out. He's a tough kid now. I mean, he's a North Dakota farm kid. So, all those things, like, he's not going to tell you when he comes up to you and tells you something's wrong, Dom, like something's wrong. You know what I mean? Some guys, it's everything that, you know what I mean? Like, that is under the sun. It might be a bruise or something like that. And they're going to let you know that there's some discomfort there. When Simon Rufo comes up and says, hey man, this doesn't feel right, like you should go get it checked out. You know what I mean? You're going to listen to guys like him. So anyways, long story short, he went down and met with the docs, and they're like, yep, we should get this thing cleaned up. Obviously, something that when your right shoulder is an important part of your life, like, we got to make sure that we get that thing, rehabbed here and get him feeling confident in it again. And we just felt like, hey, this is the right time for him to be able to do it. And he'll be back, June 1st. That's kind of when we'll get going in the summer here. We'll meet June 1st and start June 2nd. That's a Monday. And he'll be ready to rock and roll. And then obviously with fall camp, the way it is nowadays, like, you have a long fall camp, I mean, you have all those opportunities to be able to get ready. So it'll be good. I think, for our football team, some other guys are going to have to step up here in spring ball and have a leadership role. We'll go live and things like that here a little bit more than they have in the past. So it's going to be awesome to see Jack Sulik and to see Jerry Kaminsky and to see Javance Johnson be able to, play a lot of plays here in the spring and have an opportunity to be able to lead a college football team, because all those guys are excited to be able to do that. And they've all, I think, are evolving into that part of their career where it's like, hey, it's time now for you guys to find out if you're the guy to be able to do this. And then we'll add Simon in, we'll add the incumbent, if you want to say that, we'll add him in the summer, and it'll be, iron sharpens iron. It's going to be great competition. Every room, needs to be like that when you're showing up here, and it's the first spring ball and the first winter conditioning that you have under a new staff.
That name rolled off the tongue because I know you know him, Javance Johnson. Give us the lowdown on your relationship with him and getting him to Grand Forks.
Yeah, real solid relationship when we were at San Diego State. Obviously, I'm on the defensive side and he's on the offensive side. But the one thing I'll tell you with Javance, and he really progressed from the spring and into fall camp. There was another, just to kind of give you the lowdown of the quarterback position there at San Diego State. Like, he was there as a true freshman a year ago off of it. And then there's a few transfers that came in, another true freshman, and then a transfer that came in from Florida State. And we ended up going with the true freshman and then Javance as the backup. And whenever he got in the games last year off of it, like, there was a lot of energy on the sidelines when he went in the game. And he started the game against Cal. He played really well when our starter got hurt against Wazoo, and probably that's maybe the best game that we played on offense a year ago. So I would say between 6'3", Dom, and 6'4",
Yeah.
215 pounds. Grew up in Northern California in Oakland. Tough kid, great family. Parents are real supportive people. They moved down to Southern California. He went to Chaminade, was one of the top quarterbacks. We were actually at Washington at the time that he was coming out. So spent some time evaluating him. At that time, he ended up on settling at San Diego State. Had a real good first year there. Was a guy that they really felt like was developing in the way that they wanted him to. And then, like I said, last year as a redshirt freshman, played about maybe a little over 100 snaps, 125 snaps, and athletic kid. Like, he can make plays with his feet as well as his arm. And he's what they should look like. He's got the skill set. So I'm excited to be able to bring him in here and let him compete with the other guys.
Kristen Hoskins, the name, Schmitty, I got to see him play. We did a game with Alex and Moorhead. Gosh, it was 4 or 5 years ago. He stood out, I think, as a sophomore there with blinding speed. He spent the last 3 years at Minnesota. What is his potential, and how did you get him to get to Grand Forks?
Yeah, no, I think, like you said, you look at those games back in when he was a high school senior, and what Kevin had going on in Moorhead. It seemed like those games were track meets.
Yes.
You know what I mean? There was a lot of offensive weapons on both sides of the ball, and just watching his stuff. I mean, like 85 catches his senior year, returned 3 or 4 kickoff returns for touchdowns, was really dynamic, and obviously have some connections to the Gopher staff. And when we saw that, as a local kid, and even I remember, his name, obviously didn't get to follow him as closely in his high school career, but just following things back in this area, he was a big time recruit, coming out of high school. So got a chance to be able to get him on campus, and just an infectious personality. The guy, obviously, I think, the one thing when you get older guys, like, they're not 17-year-old kids anymore, so they know what they want. And, you sit down with those guys and you really talk ball in school, and all the other stuff you can kind of put to the side, because it doesn't matter. They've already been in a program. They understand, what the daily schedule is going to be like. And, they can handle all those things. And he's been awesome here, Dom. The first 3 days, like it's he's got a ton of energy, and, energy. I mean, like, he's focused. And then he brings a lot of effort, to everything we're doing off of it. So has really fit in well here. And obviously there's, when you're a local kid, like, there's a number of other guys in the locker room that you either played against or played with in an all-star game, and or played, a different sport with. So there's that, that stuff's always important, I think, just with the fit. And guys are excited. He's got a little bit of a reputation coming in here, because the guys that are his age and played against him understand that, hey, man, he was real hard to be able to defend in high school. And for whatever reason, you go to the U, and it didn't work out there for him, but really feel like he's a guy that can, fit a need for us. Like, we want some guys on the edges that can go win. And we feel like, hey, we need to win with speed out there. We got some bigger, stronger type receiver bodies. We need guys now that can go run by guys, and win one-on-one in press situations. I think he's a guy that has the competitiveness and the traits to be able to do that.
The staff-wise, are you good? Are you still need a couple other? Or are you all set for your staff now?
Yeah, so Malik Bradshaw is a guy that just got on board here yesterday. So we're good to announce his name off it. Okay. So Malik played for Lincoln Riley at the University of Oklahoma. Was at Augie the last 4 years. Like super sharp young mind. Real excited for him to be able to lead our wide receiver room off of it. Elite recruiter. Just a good person. That's the one thing, Dom, that I've really tried to go back and look at all these guys is like, hey, man, we're all about freaking high output and low ego. Those are the type of guys that I want to surround myself with, guys that wake up in the morning and they want to be, the best husbands, the best fathers, and the best mentors and coaches, that they can be. And Malik is all about that. So excited with him. I mentioned it yesterday. The only guys, I think, last time that I was on with you, I can't remember, but John Anderson is a name that's going to coach our edges. People that follow football in the area. John was the head coach at the University of Sioux Falls for 6 years. Was there with Coach DeBoer and Coach Morrell, who guys that obviously that I've been with here, the 5 or 6 years there. So excited about John. Had a lot of success. He was 40-17 there. He came out to Washington for a while and spent some time with us after the Sioux Falls situation there, and then was at ODU here the last 2 years. So I think anytime you get some of these young pieces and guys that are up and coming and starving, it's good to get the a guy that has sat in this seat before, that can look at things from a 30,000-foot view of how this thing should be run. So I'm excited for John to lead our edge group off of it. And then Markel Pete is a guy that I think really has a gift and is going to do a great job as our director of player personnel. Markel was here before, in a volunteer role back when I was here in a previous role. But he was at Mankato. He was at Minnesota State the last couple years here. Was in the NSIC, but at Mankato as the running backs coach. Was at the University of Mary as the running backs coach before that. So real excited about Markel. He's a guy that can. He can get on the phone with you if you're from, small town North Dakota. He went to school at Dickinson State. So, he'll tell a great story. He'd be a great guy to get on here about, coming from inner city LA and getting dropped off in Dickinson, North Dakota, and how that was obviously a culture shock for him. But obviously, how it is. Guys come from the West Coast, so they come here and they love it. And he's stuck around and now has built a bunch of good relationships here. Has coached high school football in Minneapolis and coached high school football in the Trinity League of Southern California. So he's at Santa Margarita, and anybody that knows that league, that's the best probably high school league in the entire country. You're talking the modern days, the St. John Bosco is like all those private schools out there are, there's, I think modern day had 30 some Division I athletes off of one team. You're a backup there, and those guys are going to, the Texas Techs of the world and that kind of stuff. So anyways, to get him here, I think he has a gift. He's going to really help us, in the recruiting world too, as well. He's well respected in that industry. So excited about those two guys. And then just waiting in the recruiting the hiring process here, but got our running backs coach ready to go. It's just a matter of, when we're going to be able to release him.
Last thing, if you got the house situation settled, all that, are you good? Have you even stepped foot in it yet?
Yeah, that's where your wife comes in, and obviously she's got to approve everything. So it was awesome. We actually found a place when we were up here for the interview. It was kind of crazy. Like left the interview and was like, "Hey, I'm going to run over and check out this this house that's on the market." And I laughed because on the way to that house, and my kids were in the car with me. We passed our old house we were here. And my youngest son is 8, and he just couldn't figure out like why we couldn't go back into that house and live there again after that. Like, that's our place. You know what I mean? Like, why would somebody else be in there right now?
That's funny.
So it was a lot of fun. But no, they're excited. I actually talked to them here late last night, and he was talking about sledding and snowball fights and all that kind of stuff. So I was pumping that up like, hey man, if you want to get out of the palm trees and all that for the snow, man, I was all about it. So trying to keep that momentum going, that, hey man, you're coming back here, and obviously it'll be a little different climate for them. So excited. They'll be back here in the middle of February. We're going to have a chance to be able to move up the fam. So looking forward to getting them back up here and getting them, back in one house here together again.
It's great to see you, bud. I know it's been crazy. Thanks so much for the update. We'll do this again next month. All right. Get to where things are at.
Sounds
okay?
great, Dom.
All right, man.
Yeah. Appreciate you too as well.
There he goes. Eric Schmidt, UND head football coach, joining us a month in with the staff riding out and got some transfers coming in. We appreciate the update from him. We're due for a break. Come back. We'll wrap up our first hour. Jory Collins on deck in our second hour as well. Hot Mic rolls on. We're back after this on WDAY Extra, KSFL TV, KNBN in Rapid City. Back after this.